Hi, I'm Marnie and welcome to Exploring Colors. Today we are going to use lots of fabulous art materials to make really fun, do-it-yourself napkin rings. So let's get started. So let's open up our box, and we have the wonderful dot markers that we're going to take out, and we are also going to take out our pom-poms. We haven't used those yet, and we're going to use our glue. And we can take out our pouch that has a few different things. We can take out our paper that's in the pink wrapper, and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to open up whatever is inside this. What do you think it is? Let's see. Woo! Lots of heavy white strips. So let's see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you have 4 people in your family and you want to make personalized napkin rings for everyone, this is enough, right? You can also, if you have from your very first box, your markers, I'm going to use these markers as well. If you can't find your markers, you can use any other markers you may have at home, or crayons, but we may want to personalize with names, so I took those out. So the first thing we're going to do, and if you need more than 4, because you have more than 4 people in your family, you can go back into your box and take out a piece of your white paper. And if you see, I made it slightly smaller. I cut a little bit off one end of the paper, and I cut this into strips. So you can do the same with your extra paper. But I have 4 people in my family, so this is perfect. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to open up our dotty markers, and I'm going to take all my colors out. Purple and red and orange and green and yellow and blue. And I like keeping it in the box, but for now I'm going to put them out. And I think I'm going to have fun thinking about different people. I could either make them all different colors, but I'm going to think about different people in my family and what colors they might like. Now, I love purple, so I'm going to make sure mine, I'm going to put the others aside for a moment. Mine has purple in it, and I could make a design. I could do right down the middle a whole bunch of dots, and you can see I'm pressing. I'm not moving it this way. I'm just pressing up and down to make these great circles. And maybe I'll go in between and make another row. And you can come up with whatever design you would like to do. There's no right or wrong. Okay, and I could add another color too if I wanted. So maybe I'll do that. Now, on the color wheel, purple. How do we make purple? Do you remember? We mix red and blue together with paint to make purple. Well, red is a primary color and blue is a primary color. So the only primary color we're missing is yellow. So if we use these two to make purple, that means across the color wheel, yellow is the complementary contrast color to purple, which means when I put yellow next to purple, it makes purple pop. And when I put purple next to yellow, it makes yellow pop. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do contrasting colors. So I'm going to use some yellow, and maybe I'll skip one and just kind of make my own design with this. So I have less yellow that I made, but this is going to be mine, and I can design it a little bit more now too. I can take out my regular markers, and I have a purple marker, and I think I'm going to write my name down the middle. M-A-R-N-I-E for Marnie. Okay, so now I'm going to go on to the next one. And I'm still going to decorate that, but this is the beginning step. My son Max loves blue, so I'm going to give him a blue one. And maybe with his, I'll make the lines this way. And if you get something on your table with your dotting markers, you can wipe it off. You can put down newspaper ahead of time if you want. Now, if I was thinking what the complement to blue is, let's try the same thing. So blue is a primary color. And we have yellow and red, right? Well, if we mix yellow and red together, the other two primary colors, what does it make? It makes orange, right? So let's use orange as my accent color because I really want the blue to pop. So I'm going to just do like these little circles in between. Now I could have used other colors too if I wanted, right? Right. So I'm going to write Max's name. And I did his name on a diagonal. And I'm going to put it up here. And I snapped my marker in. So my daughter likes lots of different colors, but she really likes burgundy, which is a dark browny red. And this is the closest I have to that. So I am going to do a kind of zigzaggy line for her. Now let's try, our little experiment where red is a primary color and yellow and blue are primary colors, right? And if we mix blue, the other two primary colors, because I want to know what color is the complement to red, it makes green. So green will bring out red and red will bring out green. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to do these dots in between some of the zigzags. And I screw on the top of my marker. And I'm going to do my daughter's name in black because I want it to stand out. And her name is Justine. Okay. Snap. So now I have that done. And I'm going to do one for my husband. And you may have siblings that you do it for, or maybe you don't want to put names on yours so anyone can use it. You get to decide. But my husband likes lots of colors, but I'm going to use, so many choices. I'm not sure which color I want to use, but I think green. And we already know that the complement is red, so maybe on his, I will do random dots. Maybe I'll do all cool colors on his. I'll make it a little different. So blue is a cool color, right? Because green is the color of grass and blue is the color of sky. They're all cool colors. So the cool colors that I have here would be blue, purple, and green. And so what do you think the red, orange, and yellow would be? They would be warm colors. So I'm going to put those aside for now. I'm not going to use those, but I haven't used my purple yet. So I'm going to give him a few purple dots. Perfect. And I'm going to put his name in, and maybe his name will be in blue. Peter. And maybe some of you have a name like Peter. So now I've done the marker and I've done the dots on all four of my napkin rings. They don't look like napkin rings yet, but they will. So the next thing I think I'm going to do is open up my pom-poms. And there's so many colors to these, right? Let's see. There should be a spot where you open it and you can close it again. And I have lots of different colors. And I also have in this case, I have a few of my circles left over. So if I want to use those, I can use those too. So let's see what colors I have left. Do you guys have circles left over, the tissue circles? We use those for the wrapping paper. But I think I have enough left to give everybody one big circle. So I'm going to start with the pom-poms. And let's see. I'm going to give everyone a pom-pom right after their name. I think that will be fun. So let's decide which color. I'm going to have purple. But you don't have to do this. You could do pom-poms in different places. I'm going to give Max blue and Justine maybe a different color like yellow. And Peter will end up with, maybe I'll give him green. Okay, so now I'm going to open up my glue and I'm going to squirt. Let's see. You have to turn it counterclockwise. Clockwise is the way a clock works. The opposite way is called counterclockwise. And I'm going to have a little puddle of glue and I'm going to stick my pom-pom on and a little puddle of glue. I press and stick my pom-pom on and another one. And you can decorate yours any way you like, but I just thought I would try it with this. Now maybe everybody needs another pom-pom at the beginning of their name. That might be fun. So I'm going to do a puddle of glue right before everybody's name. And I'm going to give everybody different color pom-poms because I want to make this really colorful. Okay. It's like a party, right? And maybe I'll use more of these, but I'm going to use my markers now a little bit more on this too. Now everybody could have, now I'm going to shut my glue, make sure your glue is shut, even though we're going to still use it. We want to shut it when it's not in use. Now it could be kind of fun to do an outline around some of the circles. I'm thinking of different design elements that I can do. So I'm going around some of the purple ones with my purple. And I could make them into smiley faces if I wanted to. Make Peter's very happy. And you can decide if you want to turn your dots into people, into smiley faces, into balloons. What else could it be? Ladybugs, right? Could be so many different things. So I'm going to put this on the side. Now for Justine's, I'm going to grab my green. And I think I'm going to do lines over the red in green. It's almost like a caterpillar, right? And if I want to, at the end, I can make a little face, like a caterpillar. She loves nature. What else could I do on hers? Let's see. I'm going to take the yellow, and I'm going to make these green into flowers. I'm going to just give it like these rays of petals around. And I like adding the yellow here because I have a yellow pom-pom, so it kind of brings that color back in. It's very cheerful and happy. And sometimes I think of things as I go along, and you may think of things too as you're going along. Okay, so Justine's is done. Now for Max, let's see. So I'm going to take out my blue, and maybe I will do spirals. I'm going to do spirals around. I have an orange circle, so his name is right there, so I won't do it there. And I'm just thinking of fun shapes and design elements that I could add to each person's. And you could make it personalized by putting something that they love, like if Max loves baseball, I could do baseballs. I could do paintbrushes for me. Let's see, for Marnie, what do I want to put on mine? You know what? I think I'm going to take my red And I am going to make myself put a lot of hearts on mine. Big red hearts. I'm going to spread the love today. And I'm going to put this heart over the I in my name so it looks like a dot. And it's fun to go over some of the shapes with the markers because the red looks a little different on top of the purple than it does on top of the white. On top of the yellow, it's also different. It looks a little more orange. And it gives it another dimension. Okay, so I have a lot of hearts now. Now, what else could I do? Let's see. Maybe I could do some very teeny polka dots if I wanted to. Now, I didn't bring out my paints today, but you could bring out your paints and you could use some of your Q-tips, or you could use a paintbrush and you could use that as well. I decided today I had enough material to work with that I didn't need to, but you can decide what you want to do. So now I'm going to do lines in the background. I'm going to make this really colorful and a lot of interesting designs and shapes. And I can't wait till my family sees like that they each have their own napkin ring when we sit down for dinner. That'll be fun. Okay. So few more lines. I can go all the way down, and remember, I'm making up the rules. I get to design each one the way I want to do it, and you do too. Okay, so Max's I think needs a little yellow. So I'm going to go do spirals over the blue spirals in yellow. Making this, and I'm taking it one step at a time where I'm trying one thing and then I'm adding to it. And that's part of the fun too. Now I didn't do anything with his blue lines, and maybe I want to do something there. Maybe I will kind of do a fun zigzaggedy line. And let's see, what else could I do on Max's? Maybe I'll take the green and I'll do teeny little polka dots. And just up and down the way I was stamping with these, but just with a marker, up and down, stamp, stamp, stamp. And that's part of the fun, is just figuring out different designs, right? You don't have to get stuck. You could say, oh, that looks like a snake, or oh, that looks like a smiley face, or oh, that looks like a road. And come up with some cool ideas. Oops. That was crazy. Okay, I got very excited and my marker snapped and everything went all over the place. Okay, so Max's is done, and you can see they're starting to look really good, right? They're very, very colorful. And we haven't even made them into napkin rings yet. Okay, so we're up to Justine. So Justine, I'm going to give her a little purple like me, and maybe I'll turn these flowers into smiley face flowers. They're like suns, little flowers. And I'm going to give her some little polka dots in purple. It could be little flowers, little polka dots. Okay, I'm going to do lots of little dots. Here I go. And it fills in the background too, which is really lovely. Gives it a pop of color. And maybe I will go in with a little orange. Oops, my tissue paper was flying. And maybe I will do a circle around the green with my orange. I'm going to try that. Okay, a big circle around the green. And maybe more polka dots near the purple, because I could mix two different colors to make polka dots, right? This is going to be a very happy napkin ring. And you could do this for birthday celebrations. You could do this for when your family comes over, maybe your grandparents. Okay, now Peter's. And you could also do name cards too if you didn't want to do napkin rings. But I really enjoy personalized napkin rings. I think it's so exciting when people come to a dinner table and they see their name on a napkin ring. Okay, so Peter, I'm going to give him a little red. And maybe I'll give him hearts too. But maybe I'll do the outline and fill it in with another color. Maybe I'll fill it in with orange. So now I'm coming in with warm colors. And hearts are fun to make. You go around one side and around the other side. And I'm going to go over part of the polka dots too. Now I'm going to fill it in with orange. Little circles to fill in. So Peter really has all the colors on his napkin ring almost. The only thing I don't think I've used is yellow, but I can still do that. Okay, so now I'm going to look at it and decide what I want to do. It needs a little yellow, I think, and maybe with the yellow I'll do spirals. I'll do little spirals, and I'll go into other sections, like I might go over the green and the purple with my spiral, and that's okay, or the heart. I'm going to make some big spirals and some little spirals, but I'm filling in some of the white space. And can it go off the page of the paper? Sure. Okay, so everybody has very colorful napkin rings now. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I press these on tight. I can fold it in, and part of the design you're not going to see because I'm going to turn it into a napkin ring where we can put the napkin in. So I'm going to open up my glue again, and I'm going to put flat on the table a big line of glue. I'm going to do 2 or 3 lines of glue. And now I'm going to take the opposite side and I'm going to go over it, and I'm going to press, 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 press. And it's wet right now. And I wonder if I take one of my tissues, let's see what happens. And if I put a little more glue on the outside and make a little circle, let's see. Ah, and I'm going to use my fingers. Remember, these tissues have color, like they bleed a little bit, these circles. And it's going to help hold this in place too. And I'm going to use my fingers, and I'm getting messy, but I don't care. I love getting messy. Okay, so that one is done, and I'm going to leave it here to dry. Oops, did my little sticker, my pom-pom came undone. So I may need to add a little more glue and glue it back on. And I may add some more pom-poms at the end. Let's see. So now it's my turn for Marnie's. And I'm going to put a long line of glue. Oh, I'm very generous with my glue. And now I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to press. And I'm going to put, I think, let's find which color I want to use. Well, this is a very pale color, but let's try that and see, because I think then my design will show. I'm going to try to keep this even, and if a pom-pom falls off, it's okay. You're going to put it back on. I'm going to use my fingers, and I'm going to press, 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 and I'm going to put a little glue so that this circle, tissue circle, stays on. Okay. And if it moves around a little bit, that's okay. I'm going to move the glue around so it covers the whole edge of the circle. And now I'm going to put another dot of glue because my red pom-pom came off. I'm going to let that dry. And once they're dry, you can put your napkin in and it's not a problem, but it just takes a little bit to dry. Okay, so Max's. And if you need to rinse off your hands if they get dirty and you need to rinse them off with soap and water, that's okay too. And now I'm going to flip Max's. And if you're having a hard time with the glue, you can also use tape at home, but I think it's fun to do it with glue. Okay, so now I'm going to do another circle. And I'm going to stick my tissue. And if you don't have tissue left because you used all of it on your last project, that's okay. You don't have to put tissue down. You can collage words from magazines. You could do lots of things, right? This is a suggestion, but you can also change it your own way. And if you wanted to take a photograph and make a copy of it and then cut out the person's face, you could do that too, right? There's so many ways to do this. You could personalize it with pictures. I like to make copies of my photos so that I don't cut up my original photos. Okay, so now I'm going to do another line. I'm doing all 4 of my napkin rings today. And now I'm going to go over it. This is for my daughter, and I'm going to use the orange because I think that will be really fun. Such a bright color. Oh, and I forgot to put a little glue. I'll put that on. If you forget, that's okay. And I'm going to put a little more glue around the edge, and then I'm going to move it around. Okay. And this will dry. Now I have 4 napkin rings that are drying, and I can look at them while they're drying and say, okay, I want to add a few more pom-poms while it's drying. So I'm going to make a dot, and I will press pom-pom on. And I like putting more pom-poms on the front because you see it. That's where their name is. So I think I'm going to do a few more for each person on the front. And I'm going to give it a good press. And my hands are very sticky now. I really could go and wash them, but I'm having too much fun to do that right now. So Justine's is done. Oops. Press that on. Sometimes these pom-poms don't want to stay on, so you have to put more glue. That should work. And I'm going to lay it down like this for a moment so that the pom-poms don't go off. Okay. But I really should have paper down, which I don't today. But you can do that so that you don't get your table all messy. Okay, so now I'm going to stick more pom-poms on. Make it super colorful. And Max will get more pom-poms. And let's see, maybe I will give him one of these. And maybe a green. And maybe one more light blue. Whoops, here they go, coming off again. Oh no. That happens though. And if it does, don't worry about it. That's part of the fun of creating. Things come off, you put them back on. I have to press, but my hands are so sticky right now. And you can always come back afterwards, after they're a little drier, and put more stuff on too. So don't worry about that. Okay, so I think they're all looking really great. And I can put my pom-poms back in and use them on future napkin rings if I want to, or cards, or place cards. But when these are dry, I'm going to go in and put my napkin in, and it's going to look really fabulous. And maybe I would put it right on the plate with the napkin coming through, but they're wet right now, so I can't do that. But my family is going to be so surprised. So now it's time to put all our stuff away, right? So my table's a little messy, so I'll take a sponge at the end and wipe it down. But in the meantime, I'm going to close my glue because I want to use it again. And I'm going to take my box for the dotty markers, and I'm going to make sure everything is screwed on tight. And I'm going to put that back so the green goes back, the blue goes back, the purple, the red, and I'm checking the top to make sure it's on tight, and the orange and the yellow, and I'm going to close it. And I have my markers. I'm going to make sure the tops are tight. I can just push it with my hand and make sure, or I could push on the table. I'm going to put these all back. And this way I have them for the next time, because we always take care of our art supplies. You can see how much like glue and marker and everything else I have on my table, but that's okay because I'm going to take a sponge and clean it up. And if you clean it up right away, it usually doesn't stain anything. So that's why we're really good about putting everything away right away. Okay, and I'm going to fold this over so I can use my pom-poms for next time, and my tissue for next time. Put that in. And I will put this all back in my Exploring Colors box and my glue. And I hope you guys all had fun today. I had a ball with you, and we made a mess, but we had fun creating things. And the dinner table is going to be so exciting. Now I hope that you made your own do-it-yourself napkin rings with the dots and the circles and the designs and colors. And please ask your grown-up to take a photo of what you made. Maybe you'll put it on the table and put it up on Instagram with the hashtag Exploring Colors, and we can all take a look at it and learn from each other, because that's half the fun too. I can't wait to create with you very soon.